Now, Shady, Warriors are your team, and we'll get to them in a little bit, because I know this hurts.
Yeah.
Know it hurts, so know it hurts.
It's sting a little bit.
It is. It's going to look different, for sure. But does Klay Thompson make the Mavs Western Conference favorites?
I'm going to say no, not favorites, but it does help out, right? I think from playing with Luka and Kyrie, he's going to get a lot of open shots, right? Hopefully they can get some offensive possessions where they're going through Klay, right? Some pick and rolls and et cetera, coming off screens for Klay. He's used to doing that with the Golden State Warriors. But watching the finals, man, this year, I think they need some more scoring. I think they need one guy on the bench that could come out there and give Luka a blow, right? Give Kyrie Irving a little rest and go out there and score some points. I think if you watch the series, I think some things was lacking was the effort and defense from the Mavs, a lot of that with Luka, but then some of that is scoring. They couldn't keep up the points with the Celtics, so I think that they need one more piece. But this Klay Thompson move is good for them, right? I think he'll have a chance to shoot the ball at a high clip, getting good shots. I think that's the biggest thing when you watch him. I don't think he's still as explosive as he used to be. I don't think he even plays with that type of confidence. People don't, they look at Klay as a jump shooter. Klay had a point in time in his career where he was super confident, a dog on defense and offense. Player. And I think all them injuries, has affected a lot of that as far as just the defensive part of his game. Because he doesn't get looked at as a defender. And he used to defend all the best offensive scorers on the team. So I think he helps out the Mavericks. I hate to see Klay go from the Warriors. He's one of my favorite players, but that's how this game goes. You never finish all the time in the same jersey you started with.
It is really crazy to think of him as something other than a Warrior, but I do love this move for the Mavs. The Mavs shot 31.6% from three-point range in the finals. The Celtics made 22 more three-pointers than Dallas did in the series. They shot 68% free throws, which is the worst free throw shooting team in the entire NBA playoffs this year. Klay Thompson just led the NBA by making 93% of his free throws this season, so he adds to that. And they shot under 37% under catch-and-shoot situations. We all know what type of player Klay Thompson is when it comes to that. That was the fifth worst in the league. So he brings an element to them offensively that I think is actually very crucial. Obviously, he has extensive postseason experience, and he's going to come with a bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, I think so.
At this point in his career, moving on from the Warriors, he's going to go somewhere where they have an opportunity to win a championship, and he can add to that. He's not the same defensive player that he has been throughout his career, but I think offensively he adds a lot of elements. What do you think, James? Does he make them contenders?
I love it. I think he does. When you talk about just a perfect fit, I think this is the perfect fit for Klay Thompson. You have two guys that are dominant with the basketball in their hands. When you watch the finals, all we were saying is they needed third scorer. It was so much help on Kyrie and Luka. They had nobody to kick the basketball out to. Now you have Klay Thompson who can space out this floor for Luka and Kyrie Irving and a guy that can knock down shots consistently. And they just came out the West, so it'll be crazy to say anybody else when they just came out the West. And to be honest with you, this move makes them better, not worse. It makes them better. So if they just came out the West and you add Klay Thompson, who makes you better, especially offensively. When you look at this team offensively now, you can't double Luka or Kyrie no more because you have Klay Thompson who can shoot the air out of the basketball. I love what the Dallas Mavericks did here. I think they are the team to beat in the West with this move right here. And that's just for, we on the show for an hour, because a lot of stuff can happen in the next, hour or so. But I like this move.
Yeah, it is that time of year. But I do think that it does make them the favorites. They did just come out. Obviously, it was a disappointing performance. But to your point, he made them better offensively. We've got to bring in Fox NBA analyst Slick Ric Bucher, though. Slick, does Klay Thompson make the Mavs Western Conference favorites?
No, he does not, in my estimation. And it's really, at this point with the Western Conference, as we saw this past year, and I don't think anything's going to change markedly for next year, it's really hard to pick a favorite. But if I'm going to pick one, it would be the Minnesota Timberwolves. The question is, with Klay Thompson and the addition of Quentin Grimes, who they got from Detroit, are they better on the wings, the Dallas Mavericks? Yes, they are. Those two over Tim Hardaway Jr. and Darren Jones Jr., to me, that's an overall upgrade. But is it so much of an upgrade that it trumps what I believe Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels and the Minnesota Timberwolves, having had the experience that they had last year and now the opportunity to mature? I'm going to say that Minnesota can take a bigger leap than Dallas might with the addition of those two pieces. And don't sleep on the Oklahoma City Thunder either with adding Isaiah Hartenstein. That's another young team that I only expect to get better, and having a big man is exactly the kind of a big man that Hartenstein is, where he can affect the game without the ball, is exactly the kind of piece that they need. The Mavs being the favorite, there's not a move that they can make that's going to change that. The thing that has to happen is Luka Doncic has to demonstrate to me that he can be an upgrade defensively, that he can make that, and that he can trust his teammates and get them involved more quickly than he did this past year. Otherwise, we're going to see the same where he's great, and then he falls off the cliff.
Slick, I'm confused a little bit, Slick. You said the Minnesota.
Let me help you.
You said the Minnesota Timberwolves and the OKC, two of the teams that the Dallas Mavericks smoked, and then you added, that Klay Thompson is an
Smoked
upgrade.
Is a little strong, but okay.
I mean, it was 4-1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's smoked, and it almost really should have been a sweep. And you telling me that they got better with Klay Thompson, and you telling me that two teams that they smoked in the playoffs, one 4-2, another one 4-1, that those two teams are the favorites over the Mavericks? Luka played bad defense in those series, too.
One of them with Minnesota, yes, just because I believe that the one thing that Minnesota didn't have was experience in big games. They'd never been that far. They didn't know what it was all about. And I look at Anthony Edwards and his potential. I expect that he's going to get immensely better. Jaden McDaniels, I think, just needs maturity. Karl Anthony Towns, like the pieces that they have, the defense that they're capable of playing, Anthony Edwards having a better understanding of when to go and when not to go and how to fully utilize his abilities. I just think that there was so much that Minnesota left on the vine that they could have done, and that I think that they will do over the course of this year. Now they understand. They have an understanding of what it takes. They had no idea, and they had no one on that roster who could tell them. Unlike the Dallas Mavericks with a Kyrie Irving who had won a championship, and a Luka Doncic who had been a champion overseas. So that's why, look, anybody who wants to make the Dallas Mavericks the favorite, I'm not going to argue hard with that. That's why I said at the very beginning, like, it's really hard to pick a favorite. But if you're asking me just taking a step back and looking how they're composed, the idea that Minnesota might take a big step as a result of their experience from last year works for me.
Well, the Mavs weren't the only team that were looking at Klay Thompson. LeBron reportedly contacted Klay Thompson when free agency began, which obviously got Lakers fans excited and now maybe disappointed. Shady, is Klay making a mistake choosing the Mavs over the Lakers?
That's a good one. I'm going to say no, though. I do think that the Mavs are the better team. I mean, they did go to the finals. That did happen. Right? You look at a younger team with the Mavs. And then, like, the roles. I think the roles are really big. If you just watch the Mavs, they only had, two players averaging double figures in the playoffs. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
And now you have Klay there, right? You don't get open shots. A guy like Luka that can score everywhere on the court. He gets all the attention, all the eyeballs on him. Now you got Klay spotting up where we see PJ Tucker. We see PJ Washington miss open threes where he should have made it. Derrick Jones, he missed some open threes he should have made. Now you got Klay there to get them shots. So I just love the matchups, man, especially offensively. And then on defense, Klay won't give you something. Where we watch Luka not giving them efforts on defense, where maybe Klay can step in and do that. So I like him going with the Mavs. They did go to the finals, where the Lakers are still trying to find it. And then you added a new coach, right? Like, all that's going on in L.A., where now in Dallas you can just play ball with a winning team and hopefully get back to the finals.
Yeah, the Mavs is the cleaner option, obviously. The Lakers are going to have a new coach. There's a lot of turnover going on. You're not really sure where they are as an organization. But I will say, selfishly, I would have liked to see LeBron play alongside Klay Thompson. Like, that would have been an interesting combination to watch. You know how LeBron is with shooters. He's a very intelligent player. Klay is as well. So I would have liked to see that. But I do think the Mavs is the cleaner option. James, do you think that Klay's making a mistake choosing the Mavs over the Lakers?
No, I agree with both of you guys. I think this was the best fit for him. I mean, when you talk about Luka, you talk about Kyrie, and I understand LeBron is special with shooters around him too, but those two dudes are going to be special with shooters around him too. And to be honest with you, when you look at the Dallas Mavericks, I feel like Klay was the missing piece watching them play in the finals last year and in the playoffs. They did not have a consistent third scorer all year during the playoffs, especially in the finals. I felt like this was the perfect situation for him to go to and to really be Klay Thompson, whether that's catch and shoot, one dribble. You know, he scored 60 off of 15 dribbles. So I think this is a perfect situation for him. And I know LeBron, you know, called him and all that type of stuff, but this situation right here is perfect for Dallas.
Slick, you've got that smirk. I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm going to guess you're going to say that it's not a mistake.
Joey, I'm still trying to get over James shaking his head as I explained to him why the Minnesota Timberwolves should be favored. One thing, I will add one thing there before I answer your question, is that the Boston Celtics gave the entire league the blueprint for making life difficult on Luka Doncic. So I want to see how that translates too, in terms of how teams play them defensively and whether that changes things. That said, as much as it would be sentimentally, it would be great to see Klay Thompson in the same uniform that his dad won a championship in, while LeBron and Bronny are playing together, like that whole father-son dynamic. That would have been cool. But beyond that, I don't understand why the Los Angeles Lakers would want Klay Thompson. What? Because what do we think of Klay contributing? We think of him as a three-point shooter. And as Shady pointed out, he's not the defender that he once was. He's a sharpshooter from the perimeter, correct?
Yes.
Well, let's take a look at the Lakers sharpshooters and how they stack up this past season to what Klay Thompson did for the Golden State Warriors. I'm counting 5 guys who shot better from three-point range than Klay Thompson did. Spencer Dinwiddie just by like an inch, but nonetheless, what you think that Klay Thompson is going to bring isn't necessarily I think it's through the prism of what he was as a champion and not necessarily what he is right now. And if I look at what they really need, as I look at this list again, what they really need is they need a 3-and-D guy. And that is not Klay Thompson at this point. Klay was arguably, maybe not even arguably, statistically, was the worst defender the Warriors had in the regular rotation. Worse than Steph Curry. And so that's where, with the Dallas Mavericks, you got Daniel Gafford as a rim protector, Derek Lively, P.J. Washington, accomplished defender, Quentin Grimes is going to come in and defend. Like, you got guys who can kind of protect him. Again, as long as Luka steps it up, Kyrie continues to play defensively the way he has. That fit makes a whole lot of sense. But with the Lakers, the name would have just been bigger than the game. And I just don't see it turning out well. It would have been sentimental coming in, and it would have been really disappointing going out.
Respectfully, though, like, I get it. You know, Drew Rosenhaus was my agent, one of the best of all time. He told me, anytime you wanted to, like, explain your point, right, and your argument, you can always make stacks up, right?
You can.
And the stat you just gave was that example. Them dudes don't ever do that. When we talk about shooting three-pointers and all that, don't put them guys up there with Klay, right? If you had to ask any coach in America, hey, we need a three-pointer, who you want to take? He's not going to mention them guys, right? So maybe Klay might have had a down year, whatever, shooting the ball, but please do not get crazy on here on TV, because I don't want people thinking that.
Okay.
And then last point, no, before you do the shady thing, the last point, postseason results. Like, them dudes in the postseason, like D-Lo, right? I mean, he's up here some days. We keep flip-flopping, right? And then some days he's down here. Like, that's how it works. Klay Thompson, over the years, he's been super successful in the postseason.
Over the years. Over the years. What was he in the play-in game? What did he shoot in the play-in game?
All I'm saying is, if all these names, right?
What did he shoot in the play-in?
All these names are talking about zero. I'm going to take Klay before I take any, and I won't even say name all these guys, but I'm going to take Klay. I think everybody else will take Klay as a shooter in the postseason more than we'll take these guys that you just named.
Except for LeBron.
Except for LeBron James. He even shooting the ball.
10 shots, he didn't make one of them.
Let me ask you this. Shady, riddle me this. The Orlando Magic just offered 3 years and $66 million to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Yep, I seen it.
Would you ever put KCP, when Klay was at his best, in the same sentence as Klay Thompson?
What do you think?
I'll answer that for you. You would not, and I would not.
Right.
KCP is a nice player, but in the estimation of the Orlando Magic and around the league, he's a nicer player right now than Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's not getting.
But you can argue that just because
He's
first
getting
of all,
$16 million less from the Dallas Mavericks.
I get that, but I think that less injuries. That's one part. Another thing is, you coming from the Denver Nuggets, right? A winning team. In free agency, everybody loves to pay the winners. Correct?
Yeah.
That's how it works. So you're taking some of that winning DNA from the Nuggets, bring it to Orlando. We got a younger team, right? You're a veteran. You can show the ropes. It's small things like that matter. It's not just basketball, shooting, and playing defense.
Klay Thompson's not a winner? Are you saying Klay Thompson's not a winner? How dare you say that Klay Thompson is not a winner?
More recently, right now, Klay hasn't been winning like Pope. You know this.
Slick, I got a question for you, too, though.
Okay.
Slick, I got a question, because you named
So he hasn't been winning of lately, in part because he hasn't been the same Klay Thompson.
Let me just real quick, because he's trying to get over. Yeah. Injuries, right? That's one part. The second thing is success lately. I think Pope has been more successful lately, and then his team success. I think that matters. When you come there and you have a young team like Orlando Magic that has up and coming, you bring an older vet that's been winning recently, can bring all them things to this young team. You've been around the block, man. Don't act like that. It's not your first time off the porch, man.
Slick, I got a question.
I said what I said.
I got a question for you, though, Slick, because you're talking KCP. You named 37 different shooters up there for the Lakers. Who you think is going to demand more attention? Because all these dudes is making more money than Klay and all that might be good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when Klay Thompson is on the court, you cannot tell me the people that have played against Klay Thompson and the guys that are about to play in this league this upcoming season and coaches is just going to fall off of Klay Thompson to help. You will fall off of KCP. You will fall off of Rui. You will fall off of D'Lo. You are not falling off of Klay Thompson. And with him being on the basketball court would have made the Lakers better, and it's dang sure going to make the Dallas Mavericks better, and Luka and Kyrie.
That is the best argument I've heard so far supporting Klay Thompson. I will give you that. But, again, I will go back to this. It's not the offensive end so much as the defensive end, where I believe that the Dallas Mavericks, particularly the way we saw them play at the end of the season, are better equipped to take advantage of what Klay can still do and what he does not do, which is play defense. He got picked on constantly last season. Like Austin Reeves constantly got picked on. I can't have another Austin Reeves on that team and think that I'm going to take a step forward.
Picked on, though? Picked on's wild. I think picked on is
picked on.
Picked on's what we've seen from Luka in the finals. That's picked on.
Isolated.
Like, yo, from 1 to 5, whoever got Luka, we going at him. That's picked on.
Well, as I said, that's where the greatest improvement has to happen. Luka can't get picked on.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like. Thank you, Slick. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.